right? But the best one is from Bin Laden's son, Omar, who's not a terrorist, who gave an interview to Rolling Stone in 2010, where he says, when Bush was elected in 2000, my father was so happy. This is the kind of president he needs, one who will attack and spend money and break the country, right? So this is the kind of thing where it's out of the mouths of babes here, right? Like this guy didn't read this in Michael Scheuer's book and then figure out a way to like pretend that that was a story about his father or something. This was what he clearly had learned from Osama bin Laden himself. He says, my father wanted to do exactly to the Americans what he had done to the Russians and force them out, whatever, the long way, the hard way. In Clinton's time, when they sent some missiles, they missed my father, but you've been in Afghanistan now for 10 years, he said, and you still don't have him. This was 2010. Better you'd have kept that money for your economy. In Clinton's time, your government was very smart, not like the bull that runs after the red scarf. So,
and it is very interesting that we helped, drag Russia into that situation.
Right. That was the purpose of it.
Right.
That's exactly right.
But we don't recognize it when it's happening to us.
Exactly right. Like, I know what we'll do. We'll give them their own Vietnam back in 79 when it's Zbigniew Brzezinski hatching the plot. Then when we're replaying the same thing in the role of the Soviets who were playing the role of us in Vietnam, no, that has nothing to do with this.
They hate us for our freedoms.
Yeah, no. But so that was the strategy, right? Was to bait us into this massive overreaction. Now, the thing of it is, I argue this in both books, but, especially the Afghanistan book, Fool's Errand. First of all, they could have negotiated for extradition and tried these guys in court. That'd have been it. They didn't want to negotiate. They wanted a war.
It was offered. They offered to give Bin Laden up.
That's absolutely right. And I go through and I explain, each of the steps of that, where the Bush people refused to negotiate. And then, but even if you said, well, you know what? I don't want to negotiate. I want to bomb Al Qaeda to death, man. Screw those guys. They knock our towers down. They're going to have to, I'll give them a court of F-16 fighters. I would say to you, you know what? Fine. Actually, I don't care if you bomb these guys to death at, out there at Tora Bora, where they're hiding. There's no civilians or collateral damage to be had anywhere around, only the guilty and their fellow travelers. Go ahead and bomb the hell out of them for all I care. For the sake of argument, I'm not going to argue with you about it, okay? But you still don't have to bomb the Taliban. You don't have to take the fight to the Taliban at all. They could have dropped all the paratroopers right on the Lion's Den hideout there in Tora Bora and Nagar province, where they knew good and well that was, a vast likelihood of where Bin Laden would have been in the first place. And then that's it. But then you might say, not good enough, Horton, because I'm so mad at the Taliban for even allowing Bin Laden to live in Afghanistan since 1996 that I still want to bomb them just because it's only, October the 10th and I'm still mad. It's only been a month and, okay, fine. So say you want to bomb the Taliban. You still have to do a full-scale alliance with the Northern Alliance and send in all your special operations forces to help them win the war and overthrow the government in Kabul and launch this regime change in the capital city. But even then, even if you said, fine, no, we want to see the Northern Alliance come in and kick the Taliban out of the capital. Okay. For the sake of argument, I guess everybody's still mad. It's not even Christmas 2001 yet. So whatever, you're emotional. I'm not going to fight with you about that, maybe for the sake of argument now. But now what do? Create a new government in Kabul and swear to defend it against all of its rivals from now unto eternity. And the government is made up of a coalition of people that the population had actually been happy to see the Taliban overthrow from power when Clinton helped them just a few years before. The warlords and the Mujahideen, most of these guys had fought against the Soviet Union. Some of them, like General Dostum, had fought for them. Massoud had been a double agent, but he was already dead. But most of these guys were the warlords who were the Mujahideen who had fought for the CIA and against the Soviet Union, people like Haqqani and Hekmatyar. And the Taliban had come to power really to drive them out. because they were so destructive. And the Taliban brought law and order, and they were supported by the Bill Clinton government along with the Saudis and the Pakistanis.